Hello students, a very warm welcome to the discussion of another topic in mathematics for attempting questions in CSAT examinations. Now the name of the topic is ratio and proportion. Now, it's a very important topic given that ratios in particular are used in plenty in many other topics, like even in the questions pertaining to percentages, time and work, time and distance, pipes and cisterns, boats and streams, then partnership. Normally, any topic in arithmetic, a question can be framed by infusing the concept of ratio and proportion. So, you have to have a very good hand at ratio and proportion, especially from the point of view of attempting questions which are purely based on ratio and proportion, and also questions that appear in data interpretation. So let's have a look at the very basic concepts of ratio and proportion. Now, first of all, what is ratio? Ratio between two or more than two values exhibits the number of times the first value is contained in the second value. So in the ratio A is to B, term A is called the antecedent term, the one which occurs before, and term B is called the consequent term. So consequent term is the one which occurs later. So if we have, let us say, a ratio between water and milk, in a mixture of water and milk, as 2:3, it means that for every 3 parts of milk, 2 parts of water is mixed. Now, what is proportion? When two ratios are equal to each other, then the two ratios are said to be in a proportion. So if A is to B and C is to D are equal, then they are in a proportion. Now, this is how it looks like. Now, this can also be written as A by B equals C by D. Also, A into D is equal to B into C. From here itself, you can also say AD is equal to BC. Now, this is very important. So, we will look at the questions right from basics and then graduate on to a more difficult level. Okay, now let us have a look at this. If A is to B is X is to Y and B is to C is P is to Q, then you have to find out, let us say A is to B is to C. What is the ratio? Now, you can write down the ratio here below A and B, X and Y, which are the ratio portions or ratio points, so as to say. Below B and C, you write P and Q as given here. Now, the first term that would appear with regard to A is going to be X into B. The next term would be, which is with regard to B, would be Y into P. And the third term with regard to C will be Y into Q. So this is what we have. So A is to B is to C here is XP, as you can see here, YP here, and YQ. So quite a simple one. So now similarly, let us say that you have 3 ratios. A is to B is 5:6, and B is to C is 7:8. Now you need to find out A is to B is to C. So what do? Well, this is 5:6. You write 5 and 6 below A and B respectively, and then below B and C respectively you would write 7:8. So first term below A will be 5 into 7. Next term below B is 6 into 7. And the third term below C is 6 into 8. So now the value of A is to C is going to be XP is to YQ, as we can see here. And the value of A is to B is to C, as is given here, is already known. That is XP is to YP is to YQ. Alright, let's have a look at this question and try and solve this. If A is to B is 2:3 and B is to C is 4:5, then find out the value of A is to C or A is to B is to C, both these. We know that A is to C is XP is to YQ. Directly you can do that. So this is X, this is Y, this is P, this is Q. So XP into YQ. So that gives us 2 into 4, XP, 2 into 4. and 3 into 5, that is yq. So ultimately we get it as 2 into 4 is 8 and 3 into 5 is 15. So A is to B is to C, you are already aware. It is xp is to yp is to yq. So xp, that is 2 into 4, yp, that is 3 into 4, and yq, that is 3 into 5. Or else, if at all you somehow feel that you are not very comfortable memorizing this, as I have told you before, just write it down in this manner: 2 is to 3, below A is to B, and below B is to C, it is 4 is to 5. So 2 into 4 is to 3 into 4 is to 3 into 5. So this is 8 is to 12 is to 15. That's what we got here. Alright, what if we are given 4 terms, A, B, C, D? That is, 3 proportions are given to you. A is to B is x is to y, B is to C is B is to Q, and C is to D is M is to N. So in that case, how do you find out A is to D? Or let us say B is to D. So in a similar fashion, you can just go about writing these down. A is to B is x is to y, B is to C is B is to Q, and C is to D is M is to N. Now, the very first term for A is going to be x into P into M. The next one, y into P into M. The next one, y into Q into M. And the next one, y into Q into N for D. So what you have here is xpm, as you can see here. Then ypm, as you can see here. Then yqm, like this. And then finally yqn. So quite simple. Now another way in which you could have done is, you already know how to find out A is to B is to C. Now this is x is to y, and this is P is to Q. So from this you find this is xp is to yp is to yq. Now below that, now you have, let us say, C is to D. Now what is C is to D? M is to N. So this is M is to N. So you can break it into 2 parts, 2 steps, and then also you can solve this. So you have an xpm is to ypm is to yqm, and finally yqn, as is given here. So likewise, so A is to D is going to be how much? xpm is to yqn, as we can see here. Now we will be solving questions based on this particular concept. So what will be the value of A is to B is to C is to D, the one which is given here in front of you. Let's have a look at the question. If A is to B is 2 is to 3, B is to C is 4 is to 5, C is to D is 6 is to 7, then find out the value of A is to D and also A is to B is to C is to D. Now let's solve it here. A is to B is to C is to D is 2 is to 3 for A is to B. B is to C is 4 is to 5, so we will write it below B and C. C is to D is 6 is to 7, so we will write it below here. So the first term here is 2 into 4 into 6, as you can see, for A. The ratio points for B will be 3 into 4 into 6. Then for C, it will be 3 into 5 into 6. And for D, finally, it will be 3 into 5 into 7. The extremities get multiplied here. So it is quite simple. If you have, let us say, I'm just writing these as points, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is how it is appearing, right? So the diagram is like this for the first one, then this, and then this, right? So it becomes something like this, as you can see. In short, you can remember it like this. All right, so A is to D directly we can find out as xpm is to yqn. That is xpm, the extremes, yqn, again the extremes. So it is 2 into 4 into 6, as you can see here, and 3 into 5 into 7, as you can see here. So there are going to be some cancellations with regard to this. So this is 3 and this is 6, so it goes by 2. So 4 2s are 8, 2s are 16, and 5 into 7 is 35. So 16 is to 35 is what we will get here. A is to B is to C is to D, as we have already found out here. 2 into 4 into 6, then 3 into 4 into 6, 3 5 6 and 3 5 7 multiplied together works out to be 48 is to 72 is to 90 is to 105. All these figures are divisible by 3, so you can further reduce it to 16 is to 24 is to 30 is to 35. And from here you can find out the ratio between B and D as well, A and C as well, likewise. Alright, divide rupees 600 between A and B in the ratio 2 is to 3. Now I want you to notice the two methods that I explained to you here. A is to B, the ratio given to us is 2 is to 3. Now this is the ratio which is comparative. For every 3 parts of B, 2 parts of A is to be included. Now these are not the actual values. These are called ratio points. Alright. The actual figures will be 2x and 3x, where x here is the multiplier, which is a common multiplier. So when 2 and x are multiplied and 3 and x are multiplied, then we get the actual figures. Otherwise 2 is to 3 is just indicative of how many times A is included in B. So A is to B is 2x is to 3x. The total here comes out to be 5x. Now we draw a line here. The total sum of money that needs to be divided between A and B is 600 rupees. So 5x here has to be equal to 600. Total sum of ratio points is 5x. Total sum of money is 600. So you can always equate the two. So x here is 600 by 5. That is 120. So that means 5 here is multiplied with 120 to get you 600. So everywhere, now the value of x is 120. So 2 into 120 is what you will do. Here 3 into 120 is what you will do. So this is 240 is to 360. Otherwise, the age-old method is, if at all you need to find out A, it is 2 points out of 5. The total is 600. B, if you need to find out, it is 3 by 5 into 600. See how much you have to write here. There you're doing rough calculations. You are not supposed to submit the solutions and there is no step marking. Alright, so this would be a much faster approach, although both are the same. So here also you finally get 120, here also you finally get 120. Alright, so this is 240 and this is 360. Okay, now divide 1200 among A, B and C in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3. So A is to B is to C. The ratios are 1 is to 2 is to 3. Alright, total is 6 ratio points. So 6x, this is 1x, 2x, 3x, let us say. And you have to divide a total sum of money, that is rupees 1200 among A, B and C. So 6x becomes 1200. In that case, what is x? So 6x is 1200. So you know this goes by 2. X here is 200. So what is x? X is the common multiplier. Alright. So 6 into 200 is 1200. The value of x here is 200. So everywhere you will multiply here with 200. So this is 200. 2 into 200 is 400. And 3 into 200 is 600. So 200, 400 and 600. This is how 1200 will be divided among A, B and C in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3. Alright, now let's get to some questions which appeared in CSAT examinations or other examinations. Now in a bag there are 50 paise, 25 paise and 10 paise coins in the ratio 5 is to 9 is to 4. Now which amount to a total of rupees 206. find out the number of coins of each value. Alright, so you have a 50 paisa coin and then a 25 paisa coin, although it is all obsolete now, but still the question was framed in that particular age. So these coins, the ratio between the number of coins is 5:9:4. Now what does it amount to? So this is 5x, this is 9x, this is 4x, the total here is 18x. Now first of all, let us find out the ratio between their values. See, 5x is the number of 50 paisa coins. So this should amount to how much? Into 0.5, let us say. 25 paisa coins are 9x in number. So the amount will be 0.25 into 9x. And 10 paisa coins are 4x in number. So the amount that it works out to be through 10 paisa coins is 4x into 0.10. So in total, this is 2.5x and 5x into 0.5. Now 9x into 0.25 is 2.25x and 4x into 0.1 is 0.4x. Now this is the ratio between the amounts. The amount of money, which is in terms of 50 paisa coins, the amount of money in terms of 25 paisa coins, and amount of money in terms of 10 paisa coins. Now this actually amounts to 2.5 plus 2.25, which is 4.75, plus 0.4, which is 5.15x. Now this here is equal to rupees 206. Now this is what? This is the amount. Alright. So ratio of amounts, I would say. Ratio of amounts. Amount of money through 50 paisa coin, through 25 paisa coin, through 10 paisa coin. And here this is ratio of number of coins. So from here we get 5.15x equals 206. So x here is 20600, let us say, by 515. So, this goes by 4, because you know that 500 into 4 is 2000 and 15 into 4 is 60. So finally the value of x works out to be 40. So 515 when multiplied with 40, it gives you 206. That is 5.15. So everywhere you now need to multiply with 40, because you found out the value of x. So 2.5 into 40 is rupees 100. 2.25 into 40 is rupees 90, and 0.4 into 40 is rupees 16. So now as you can see, 100 plus 90 plus 16 is working out to be 206. So amounts you got. But what is it that you have to find out? You have to find out the number of coins of each value. So now let us try and find out the number of coins for each value. Now see, the 50 paisa coins, if I am talking about, the value here is 100 rupees. The number of coins you have to find out. So in 100 rupees, how many 50 paisa coins are going to be there? Well, 200. For 25 paisa coins, they are amounting to 90 rupees. Divide by 0.25. So this is 200 coins. This is 25 into 3 is 75. 15 remains, so becomes 150. So that is 36. So 360. So there are 360 coins of 25 paisa each. And 10 paisa coins, they are amounting to rupees 16 by 0.1. So there are 160 coins of 10 paisa. So this is how you can find out first the values that each of the coin type amounts to, and then finally you can find out the number of coins of each type. In a mixture, alcohol and water are in the ratio 4:3. If 5 liters water is mixed in this mixture, then the ratio of the mixture will become 4:5. All right, let's see. So alcohol is to water. Initial ratio is 4:3. Now these are just ratio points. So this is 4x and this is 3x. Now if you add 5 liters of water to this mixture, the ratio becomes 4x is to 3x plus 5 liters. But it is already given to you that the ratio should be 4:5. So as the amount of alcohol has not changed and also the ratio points are also the same, we know this is 4x is to 5x as given here. Now these two can be equated together. So 5x equals 3x plus 5. So 2x is equal to 5, or x is equal to 5/2, which is 2.5. Now find out the amount of alcohol present in the new mixture. Amount of alcohol in the new mixture as well as the previous one remains the same, that is 4x. Amount of alcohol here is 4x, that is 4 into 2.5, that is nothing but 10 liters. Now look at the next question here. How much quantity of zinc should be mixed with 27 kg of copper so that the ratio between copper and zinc in the resultant alloy becomes 9:4? Now it is already given that copper and zinc ratio should be 9:4, which means 9x amount of copper is mixed with 4x amount of zinc. Now this 9x amount of copper is already given to you as 27 kgs. So directly you can see here, how do you get 27 from 9? The value of x here must be 3. So here also you multiply 4 with 3 to get 12 kgs. So 27 is to 12 is nothing but 9:4. So 12 kgs of zinc is to be mixed with 27 kg of copper so that the resultant alloy has copper and zinc in the ratio 9:4. Alright, the ratio between gold and copper in alloy A is 7:2. Okay, let's do this here. Gold is to copper. They are in the ratio 7:2. That is nothing but 7x and 2x. This is alloy A. And in alloy B, the ratio is 7:11. So 7:11. Now, equal quantities of alloys A and B are mixed to make a new alloy C. See here the total is 9x, and as the amount of gold remains the same here, ratio wise it is 7x and 11x, so it is 18x. Now they are mixed in equal quantities to form a new alloy C. Then find out the ratio between gold and copper in alloy C. Now we want equal quantities. Here we have 9x, here we have 18x. So what do you do? How do you make them equal? Well, multiply these ratio points with 2. Now the quantity will be the same. So 7x and 2x is amounting to 9. So make this 14x and make this 4x so that it becomes 18x. Now both these quantities are same, equal quantities. So add these, 14x and 7x is 21x, then 4x and 11x is 15x. Now 21 and 15, both these figures are divisible by 3. So 7:5 shall be the ratio between gold and copper when equal amounts of alloy A and alloy B are mixed. This will be the ratio in alloy C. Alright, the cost of 3 mangoes and 7 apples is equal to the cost of 5 mangoes and 4 apples. Alright, let's do this. 3 mangoes plus 7 apples equals the cost of 5 mangoes and 4 apples. Then what will be the ratio between the costs of 1 mango and 1 apple? Quite simple. Take this here, bring this here. So this is 5m minus 3m, which is equal to 7a minus 4a. So this becomes 2m equals 3A, which also can be written as M by A equals 3 by 2. This comes here, and this goes to the denominator here on the other sides. And so this anyhow is the ratio. M is to A is equal to 3 is to 2. This is the ratio between the cost of one mango and one apple. That is 3 is to 2. Now next question. In what ratio should a milk vendor mix water in pure milk so that he makes a profit of 30% on selling the mixture at the cost price of the pure milk? So water is to milk. See, pure milk is always 100%. Alright. Now, if at all he is selling 100% pure milk at the cost price, he will not make any profit. So the milk vendor is making profit by selling what? By selling water. So if he wants 30% profit, then he needs to mix 30% water. If he wants 25% profit, then he needs to mix 25% water. So the ratio in which water should be mixed in pure milk has to be 3 is to 10. Water is to milk, not milk is to water. The ratio between the monthly incomes of A and B is 3 is to 2. Alright, let's take this. A is to B is 3x is to 2x. And the ratio between their expenditures is 5 is to 3. So expenditure is a different head altogether. So I will have to take this as 5y is to 3y. The multipliers will be different for these two because this is the income and this is the expenditure. If each person saves rupees 1000 every month, then find out the monthly income of A. Now savings, we know, is nothing but it is income minus expenditure, isn't it so? So the saving here will be 3x minus 5y, which will be the same as 2x minus 3y. Why? Because the savings in each case is the same, that is 1000 rupees. Each person saves 1000 rupees, same amount. So you have two equations with you, that is 3x minus 5y is 1000. Then you have 2x minus 3y as 1000. So simultaneous equations. This is 3, this is 2. So we will multiply this complete equation with 2, this 2, and multiply this complete equation with 3, this 3, so that we can get the value of y, and then we will substitute the value of y in any of these two equations to get the value of x. So what we get here is a 6x minus 2 into 5, 10y is equal to 2000. And 3 into this complete equation. So 6x minus 3 is a 9y is equal to 3000. So solving these two equations, this is minus, this is plus, the signs change here. So this is minus y is equal to minus 1000. Now we know that multiplier y is 1000. That means expenditure here is 3000 and expenditure in this case is 5000. The savings in each case is 1000. So the income of A here has to be 6000 and income of B here has to be 4000. So that 6000 minus 5000 is 1000. 4000 minus 3000 is 1000. A simple way of solving this. Alright, for a garrison of 100 soldiers in a fort, the garrison is nothing but it's a platoon or a group of soldiers. So there are 100 soldiers in a fort. Now the ration available will last for 20 days. Now, exactly after 5 days, 25 more soldiers join the garrison. Now the ration will last for how many days more? Now, initially, the ration will last for 100 soldiers for 20 days. Now, after 5 days, we will wait for a moment for these 25 soldiers to join. We will keep them aside. So, after 5 days, what happens? These 100 soldiers will have ration supplies left over only for 15 days. Let's not talk about the other 25 soldiers as yet. The 100 soldiers will have supplies for 20 days. So after 5 days, they are left with only 15 days supply. Now what happened after this? Well, 25 more soldiers joined. Now the total number of soldiers here is 125. Okay. So now the ration supply will last for how many days? Just look at this much. So for 100 soldiers, the supplies are there for 15 days. So for 125 soldiers, the supplies will last for how many days? More days or less days? Less days. So out of these two, we will take lesser figure by more figure into the figure on the right hand side. So 100 by 125 into 15. So 25 into 4, 25 into 5, 5 threes are 15. So 4 and 3 is what we are left with. The supplies will last for 12 days because now the number of soldiers has increased from 100 to 125. This is a regular question asked in many examinations, including CSAT. Now the other way around. Same type of question with a little change, a little twist. For a garrison of 100 soldiers in a fort, the ration available will last for 20 days. So initially, for 100 soldiers, the ration is available for 20 days. After 5 days, hold it, I'm not reading the question further. Now, first of all, after 5 days, these 100 soldiers will have ration available for 15 days. But after 5 days, something happened. What happened? 25 soldiers leave the garrison. So minus 25. That means now the number of soldiers left in the garrison is 75. Then for these 75 soldiers, the ration would be left for how many days? More or less? More. Lesser the number of people, they will be able to enjoy the ration for more number of days. So more by less into the RHS is what we are taking here. It is 100 by 75. 100 is more than 75 into RHS, that is 15. 15 into 5, 75, and this is 20. So this is 20 days. Obviously, the ration will last for more number of days because the number of persons or consumers of this ration has decreased. So these were certain questions based on various patterns and picked up from various examinations. So kindly do revise them. The concepts, the shortcuts that we have discussed till now, ratio and proportion is used generously, extensively in questions based on other topics as well. So we will meet again in another discussion. Till then, I wish you all the best. Stay safe and thank you so much.